Well, hello everybody there, and welcome back. Today we're going to be doing something that a subscriber asked for a little while ago, and I never got around to filming the video. Today we're going to be doing an oil change on the old 7.3 Powerstroke. We're a little low on coolant too, so we're going to top that off and then change the oil. For anybody that's never done this before, oil's not too bad and pretty much the same process on anybody's car. So let's get into it quick. Okay, so first thing you're going to want to do is drive the truck around for a little bit, or car, or whatever you're going to be doing this to. Get it warmed up to operating temperature, and for gas vehicles, bring them back, let them sit a little bit longer. I let the truck sit for about a half an hour just to let some cool air, pop the hood open and let some cool air come through, and well, as cool as I can get. Let cool air come through and kind of cool the engine down a little bit so you don't burn yourself when doing the oil change, but it does help to have the engine a little bit heated up and the oil a little heated up. It helps it drain better out the bottom whenever you go ahead and do that. So that's the first thing I do, is I warm it up, and then I'll pop the drain plug here. The funnel is just sitting there for now. You don't need to put that in right away. But go ahead and pop the drain cap, or the fill cap, I guess, and that'll allow air to pull through, so that way air's not trying to get back up through the system here. On these diesels, or at least these 7.3s, any engine 2000 up has a CCV tube that runs from the valve cover, not on this side. On the V8s, it's underneath your intake tube over there. At least on the 7.3s, I know this. I'm not sure about the Dodges, but there's a tube that runs from your valve cover gasket back into the intake, and that tries to recirculate any oil pressure back through. They say it lubricates your turbo. I think it just wrecks your turbo, and there's been plenty of people to back me up if you want to go ahead and look on some other videos here on YouTube. But basically it recirculates back in and lubricates the turbo. I got rid of mine, so the tube no longer connects to the intake. It runs down to the frame, and I have it zip tied to the frame. Allows that extra oil vapor and water vapor to run out towards the ground, not back into my turbo to wreck that. So I pop the fill cap. On a car, you'd probably want to pop the fill cap, but on this truck I don't really need to because I have that tube, but I do it anyway just to get it ready to go. I'm gonna need to put oil in it anyway, so I go ahead and pop that and get that ready to go, and then we'll head up underneath and start to drain it. Alrighty, so here's what I have here. This is what I normally do my change with. I got some brake cleaner for cleaning off the bottom when I'm done. I put a quart of heavy-duty oil stabilizer in. Truck's got almost 300,000 miles on it, so I put that in there just to prolong the life of the engine. I got some 15W40 engine oil, 15 quart pan, or 16 quart pan, I'm sorry. Normally I like to use a bigger pan just to play it safe. This truck takes 15 quarts, so take it as you will. I'd recommend going a little bigger than this if you're going to be draining 15 quarts of oil into it, but this will work fine for now. Containers to put your old oil in. I'm going to end up putting them in that 5-gallon bucket back there. And then you just need a wrench of some sort. So I have a little cobalt set there that I'll use. Now we'll climb up underneath and I'll show you how to do it from underneath the truck. Alrighty, so now that we're up underneath the truck here, you get your drain pan out, set it right underneath your oil drain plug. You want to make sure you're not underneath your transmission. You want to keep the fluid in that. We're not doing that today. But do make sure you locate the correct plug. Don't drain your front diff, don't drain your transmission. Make sure it's the engine oil. Look up a picture or diagram of where that is on your car if you don't know where it is. And then next thing is you want to make sure you have the right size. For me, I have a 19mm drain plug. Set it on there, give it a little pull. Once it pops loose, you can spin it off by hand. Try and make sure your pan's lined up where it needs to be. And then the best way to do this is I thread it all the way out until I can feel the threads kind of overlapping again. Then pull quick. Keep it off your hands as much as possible. You can put nitrile gloves on if you want to, but that's the best way I've found of doing it. And because that cap is off up top, it'll drain real nice through here. But it's about time for this one to be changed. It's been Truck's been sitting for 8 months and it's at the oil change time now, so it's nice and dark for sure. So at this point, it's little dribbles coming out. I like to wait until it's pretty much a tiny drop. Like that's a real tiny drizzle, but kind of like what you just saw there. Those one drips coming out, or that real thin hairline stream. I think that's plenty good. But just make sure you get all the old oil out. Clean the drain plug off with a paper towel, just so it's nice and clean. If you need to replace the crush washer, do. This one looks okay to me. You can see there's a little bit of sludge on there, but it's not too bad with that new oil in there and the stabilizer. It'll look real good. So just clean the drain plug off and get that nice and clean, and once that's pretty much looking like it is right now, go ahead and put the drain plug back in, and then I'll show you the oil filter. As mentioned before, there was a little bit of sludge on top of this that I cleaned off now. Most manufacturers make these bolts magnetic, so they are the first things that see metal shavings if you have a major issue. So if you're going to drain your oil and you see some metal shavings, definitely get your car checked out, or I wouldn't drive it until you see some more. These heavier diesels, it is common to see a little bit of sludge on there like I showed you. But if you see some big metal shavings or you got a big pile on there, I would definitely get it checked out. Put it on there. Give it a real nice turn. Make sure it's just tight enough on there. And then I like to clean up the bottom of my drain pan. This truck leaks, so it's not very helpful, but make it look nice while I'm down here. Alright, so the oil filter is relatively simple. This one's a little bit greasy. I don't know if it was leaking or what, but clean that off best as possible. And then I might need 2 hands for this. These oil filters are massive on these 7.3s, so crack that thing loose. You'll start to see some drips coming down the side, and then I let it be, drain it for a little bit, and then I'll move on and unscrew it all the way whenever it stops dripping so much. Alrighty, so I got it loosened up. Like I said, spin it until you see some oil come out. Make sure it's getting in your pan. Alrighty, so once it's mostly drained, you can go ahead and unscrew it the rest of the way. There is still going to be oil in it if it's upright like this, so do be advised. It's going to be heavy on this truck, probably still going to be heavy on whatever vehicle you're doing. Right in the pan, like that. So now that we got the old oil filter off, oil drained out, take the new filter. This is Ford Motorcraft. OEM's always going to be the best, no matter what brand it is, but it's also the most expensive. This was $42, and if I ordered one online and waited a week for it to come in, it would have been $18. So I put the date on it, and then the mileage at which it was replaced, and then that way I know exactly when it was done whenever I go to do it next time. It's easier to see on these white filters. I don't bother with the black ones like you saw me just take off. All right, so there we go. We have the date 5/4/26. Hang on. So we have the date 5/4/26, and then 282,000 miles, 241.6. So now that we have that down, we can get this underneath the truck and put it up in there. I know some of y'all are gonna say something about it. I do pre-fill the filters whenever they're standing up. I don't try and do it all the way, because then it ends up just making a mess, spilling everywhere, and it makes it heavier to get in. But I do pre-fill them, try to as much as I possibly can. So this will take about a quart of oil by itself. These filters are huge for, like I said, these 7.3 filters are just massive, so they take quite a bit of oil. I'll show you here. It is filled all the way to the top, pretty much. So I'll climb back under there now and screw that one in, and then we'll put the remaining oil from this little container in first, and then we'll go ahead and put the 5-gallon bucket in. It won't take all the 5 gallons. Please do not put 5 gallons of oil in your vehicle. But We're gonna get that under there now. I just spun it on up under there. Make sure it's nice and tight. Just hand tight. Don't go ahead and crank it down with a tool, because then you won't be able to get it off next oil change. One thing I did forget to mention is make sure you lube the O-ring up in there. If you don't, it's gonna turn into like a giant ring of glue, and then once again you're gonna really struggle to get it off next time. But make sure it's nice and tight so you don't leak from the filter there. Ready to go. Now we can move back up top and start filling up the engine from above. All right, so I take the old filter here, put a couple used paper towels in the bottom of the old filter box, or the new filter box, and I'll take that and just drop it right in there. Easy disposal of that. It's so hard to keep clean on these old diesels. Alrighty, so first thing we're gonna do is put this Lucas motor oil stabilizer in it. 1 quart of oil stabilizer for 4 quarts of motor oil. I'm just gonna do the 1 quart. Do what you want. I'm putting 1 quart in. This stuff's expensive, about $13 for that. You can let that drain for a little while. Sometimes what I like to do is whenever I'm letting it drain, try and poke a hole in the top or the side. Just helps it drain faster. Just fill that up nicely. Use up the rest of this container here, and then we'll move to the big bucket. Do be sure to check the fluid level periodically. Make sure you're not overpacking it in there. So we're not there yet, so we need to add some more. It might be hard to see on camera, but we are right in the middle of that range there. So that is perfect. And we're done. Next thing we're gonna do here is just top off the coolant. Supposed to fill it when it's cold. Don't open that when your car is hot. All right, so that was hard to film with one hand, but I got it filled right back up to the max line. The reservoir has a small crack in it. So I filled it up to the max line, and that should be good for now. Well, I do appreciate y'all watching. If you did enjoy the video, be sure to like and subscribe. If you want to see more videos like this or more content on maintenance on the truck or working on the truck, let me know. There's probably going to be a lot more in the future. If you guys need a place to dispose your oil, Napa, I believe Napa takes it. Once again, I do appreciate you watching. Be sure to come back for next time. Like it down below, and be sure to hit that subscribe button. Thanks. We'll see you in the next one.